As the President, I suppose, of the United States of America, allow me to welcome you back to the Cold War, where we will continue before the Berlin crisis, since our allies failed to help us. And honestly, that put me kind of in a sour mood for this mod, simply due to the fact that all your allies are completely unreliable, and you can't have any strategy at all that involves anyone else but yourself, which is a bit unrealistic for the Cold War. Not that a real war ever happened between the United States and the Soviet Union, thankfully, since that would most likely be world decimating. But if it were to happen, I'm pretty sure that all of the United States allies would back them up. But I won't rant on about that, because I could probably do that forever and it won't really result in any difference. But what we will do now is try to prepare for the eventuality of a war, because we need to look over our armies. We did look through our navies a little bit before, trying to figure out what to do with them and how to build them. And we kind of ended up on a decent note there. I can't actually remember what we ended up with, but something similar to this, without maybe the submarine, having some cruisers, some destroyers, and an aircraft carrier in each, which seems to work out fairly well. And then having transports in their separate fleets that will handle themselves. But now let's take a look at the army, because this is the standard army that the mod provides you with, which consists of mostly airplanes really, a lot of bombers, a lot of fighters, and a smattering of infantry, and a tiny little bit of tanks. And honestly, I haven't really been able to fight a lot of wars in this mod, but somehow this feels pretty bad to me. Mostly from looking at over here when we have the three categories, which is infantry, cavalry, and other, meaning mostly artillery, at least in vanilla Victoria 2. So if you look here, other, and that means artillery, bomber, and fighter, includes 32 brigades of 102,000 men, and then we only have 4 in cavalry, and worst offender is probably infantry, where we only have 18,000 men. Because infantry is the frontline unit. At least, I don't know how much they've changed when it comes to combat in this mod compared to Victoria 2, but in Victoria 2 you basically have 2 lines, one in the front and one in the back. The one in the back will handle engineers, will handle artillery and stuff like that. And the one in the front will handle infantry, and cavalry will be on the flanks. And the infantry will be the one taking all the damage, protecting the backline that in turn can do damage to the enemy's front line, and eventually hopefully breaking it so you can get to the pesky artillery and murder them because they have no defense whatsoever. At least that's the general principle of it all. But if it follows the same principle here, then we will have almost no front line at all, and the airplanes and stuff like that will be forced to take up the charge, which seems like a pretty bad idea, to me at least. So I think we will delete this army and try to remake it in our own way and try to figure out a good composition for it. So we will delete this army, since it is in America. It's the only army we have in America. The only one. The rest we will keep for now, because we can't really dismantle all of our armed forces in Europe and in Asia, and from that hope that everything will go well, because really it won't. So we'll go over here to build an army, and we have quite a lot of units to use, mostly from New York. Poor New Yorkers will all be drafted into the army. We will most likely use our motorized infantry. Motorized infantry is stronger than infantry, and we have the money to pay for it, so I don't know if they cost anything more or less. Yeah, they do actually cost quite a bit more than the other one, but we can handle it. We can use motorized infantry. They're also quite a bit faster, twice as fast as regular infantry. We will also use a healthy amount of tanks, though at the same time using motorized infantry and tanks together doesn't really make sense, because the armies will be as fast as the slowest unit. And since tanks are as fast as regular infantry, you could go pretty well with just regular infantry and having a lot of them, and then using quite a bit of tanks. You also have artillery, which you can use, which is as fast as tanks once again. And artillery, as you can see, -1 in defense. They're not really that good being in the front line, but they have a decent support stat that increases their damage that they do. Fighters we will most likely use a fair amount of, and bombers as well, though I'm not certain about the ratio of artillery / fighters / bombers, since they seem to occupy the same kind of role, as far as I've noticed at least. So I'm not certain what the ratio will be there, but I hope we figure something out. I hope we figure something out. But first, I wish we could go into some small conflict to see just how the battlefield lines up. Do we have anything when it comes to our combat width? 28. So 28 men maximum. If you're on the plains, for example, then you will have 28 men on each front line as the most, which will be quite a lot of men. We will try something smaller. We will try to aim at about 50,000 men each. I'm not a big fan of these super massive armies that the game has given us so far. I would prefer having smaller ones. So we will start with motorized infantry and tanks. We will have about the same amount of each. Though once again, I think the motorized infantry, even though you can't make use of their max speed, will be a benefit, mostly due to increased reconnaissance, the increased siege, the increased attack, defense, increased discipline, increased maneuver. Everything else is just increased in comparison to regular infantry. So motorized infantry still has advantages compared to regular infantry, simply due to the stats in other regards, even though they will cost more. So we will start with, let's see, if we have 50,000 men, if you say we have 52,000 men, how many brigades would that be? If we could have 52,000 men, I think 51,000 men will be the one we end up with then. You know what, let's just build something and then we will figure it out. So we will start with having, I don't know, 6, that's 18,000. 18,000 men of... No, that was the wrong kind of infantry. No, not in Hawaii, that's stupid. Let's see here. There we go. So 18,000 men of motorized infantry. And then we will have 18,000 men of, or let's say 15,000 men of tanks, right? Then we will have some artillery, and we will have 3 of them, and 3 of the fighters, and 3 of these guys. Let's see how far that takes us. I think that will be a bit too many. We will probably land in about 60,000 men instead. And 60,000 men is fine. It's completely fine by me. We just need to figure out what to do here. I'm not too keen on the whole fighters and bombers thing. I don't really see them fitting well in an army, and I know that it's really difficult to implement any kind of air warfare decently in this game, since the game didn't really have any system for it to begin with. So that's the game limitation. But at the same time, though, having to redo all of these armies would be a hassle. We have white Anglo soldiers from Atlanta. This is mostly just Atlanta and Charlotte. Yeah, it's from that general region. Let's see what to do now. Semiconductor or something in Navy. Navy could be fun. We would have modern frigates. I think we will go for Navy. We're almost done with all the tech that we can do in this specific time. So how's it going in Navy? We're making some destroyers, which is nice. I'm looking forward to having them done and ready with. And then we're just waiting for all of our armies to be done, which will probably take a while since most of them will be built in the same region, New York primarily. Yeah, a lot of will be done in New York, and we also have Boston and Concord. So we should maybe reduce our armies in... Oh, Norway has joined our glorious bloc. Thank you, Norway. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you existing. Really, really do. So here we even have transport, and we have nowhere to places since we don't have any ports in goddamn Europe. We have no friends in Europe. Can we get military access? They will accept. Okay, United Kingdom, you will be used. Since Germany doesn't seem to want us anymore, we will use you as our, I suppose, stopping point to Europe. Incorporating a new factory. American Samo, yeah, do whatever. No one, even in the nowadays, remembers that America has the colonies in the Pacific. Or colonies, they have the territories in the Pacific. In the Pacific. Turkey wants a bailout, sure. Let's give Turkey a bailout. Maybe they can join in on our block if they're not already in it. Are they? They are in our sphere, which is good. It's actually really good, and no one is threatening us there. I know that the Soviet Union is trying, but that's a very pitiful attempt at trying. So it's good. We can increase our opinion on Canada. And now apparently Washington Olympics is starting. And we are terrible at the Olympics, which is bad. Let's see, we had them increase opinion to cordial. I would think that we had a slightly higher amount of influence over Canada than cordial, but sure. Or neutral before. Can't really do anything to change that. Frigate is almost done, which means that we can probably switch out our productions there to build some kind of frigates instead. Modern frigate. Need a higher level of naval port apparently. Wait, what level do we have? If we look here, we only have 3. And 3 is the highest level, and we even have a too high level on some of them than what we can even do at the moment. So we will need to reach a long time before we can even make these modern destroyers and modern... Basically, before we can make modern naval stuff, we need to reach a higher time level. So it's a bit weird that you can unlock them, but you can't use them for a couple of decades yet, because you need to wait for the naval base unlock. The Stalin Note, also known as the March Note, was a document delivered to the representatives of the Western Allied powers from the Soviet occupation in Germany on March 10, 1952. Soviet leader Stalin put forth a proposal for a reunification and neutralization of Germany with no conditions on economic policies and with guarantee for the rights of man and basic freedoms, including freedom of speech, press, religious persuasion, political conviction, and assembly. Huh. Okay. So would that mean that Germany... Okay, if the United Germany joins NATO, I'm pretty sure that Stalin would not be a fan of that. But what if... Though we would like to have Germany in NATO, wouldn't we? Then again, if we have no strings attached, then maybe Germany will be unified and the Soviet bloc will lose one of its members, which will make an eventual war with them easier. I think since Germany doesn't really want to help us anyway, we might as well go for no strings attached. Let's see if anything happens there. If we're extremely unlucky, that means Germany might even end up falling onto the Soviet Union's sphere of influence. But if we're lucky, it could unify Germany together, but like the East and West Germany into one country and having it neutral. Which would be a boon for us. Absolutely. I wish there was a good way to see who's in our sphere, since apparently Norway joined our bloc. They are allied with us. So this is only allied countries to us. It could be. It could be. They will not accept because we have negative relations with them, which we don't, so that's a lie. That's a really harsh lie. Negative relations? What? Yeah, that's evil. Can't make up lies like that. So 15,000 men already now. That's most of our motorized infantry. Honduras wants to join us and they will join our bloc. Wonderful. Another one. How's our diplomatic status looking like? We have allies with a bunch of countries, apparently. We are allied with them. Colombia. We are allied with them. Oh, are we allied to pretty much everyone here? Mexico is in our sphere, but we're not allied with them. I wish they had different colors then. Let's see, Yemen, we can increase opinion over there. Yemen is currently being occupied by rebels. Which kind of rebels? Can we see? No, it only says rebels. Oh well, we can improve our influence with them anyway, even if they have rebels. Destroyers are done, which means we have almost nothing to do. Except go for this army here. Intercontinental ballistic missile. Wonderful. That's what we would like to see. Exactly what we would like to see. We have encouraged teachers a bit too much now in certain areas. Texas, California, and New York. Let's switch them out for Florida. Illinois. Wait, Chicago is Pennsylvania. There we go. Some other states can have some teachers too. And seemingly, it looks like Florida really did need those teachers. They're the furthest down of those 6. So that's good, Florida. That's good. We like when you have teachers. All the motorized infantry is now done, and we're waiting for the tanks to be done. And hopefully we have production of tanks that would be sufficient. We are not producing any weaponry. Weaponry? This is a bit general, doesn't it? We are not producing weaponry. Why not? North Korea demands recognition of their new regime. We can declare war on them. We could do the Korean War of sorts. Or we can accept the new government. Are they allied with anyone? They're allied with the People's Republic of China, which would bring us into conflict with, well, the People's Republic of China. The People's Republic of China is fairly strong, but they have a terrible tech. We could potentially take them, and looking at what happens in the future when it comes to North Korea and how they're still at large, even though they're human rights violation and everything like that, maybe it would be best to... How would I put it best? Strangle it in the crib? No, wait. What do you do to kids in the crib when you want to be really evil and kill them? Suffocate them in the crib, something like that. Okay, now I'm going into dark territory talking about killing kids. Okay, maybe that's not the way I want to go when I'm trying to justify declaring war on North Korea, right? But North Korea, the People's Republic of China, could end up pretty terribly. They do have some infamy. They have no ships. Well, a few ships, but almost non-existent when it comes to ships. North Korea has a lot of infamy. Very infamous country. So yeah, I think we will free North Korea from the authoritarian regime. Let's see what ends up here. Inter-American Treaty of Reciprocal... What? Inter-American Treaty? There we go. What does it do? The Rio Pact, ruling party support. Sure, let's go for that Inter-American Treaty. And we currently have a Republican-Democrat coalition, which I'm pretty sure almost has never happened in history, though I could be incorrect in that regard. I'm not a historian, I don't know American history too well. Weren't we supposed to get a specific casus belli for freeing the North Korean regime? And shouldn't we try to get some military access and stuff from South Korea? Maybe we should get a formal alliance with them. There we go. Let's see. 9th of April. There, they will not accept. Because too many alliances. Why does that matter if we're United States of America? Especially when we have NATO, which includes at the moment everyone. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. It doesn't matter. We have to decide on whether to attack North Korea or not. And I think we will postpone that decision until the next episode. So this episode mostly been trying to figure out the army and try to figure out a decent composition of units, even though it will take ages in order to adopt any such composition. So currently we're stuck with what the game gave us in most regards of the Earth. We will try to do our prototype army in America, and maybe we'll be able to face it off in a potential conflict with North Korea and China before that war is over. Hopefully it will be over pretty quickly. So, in the next episode, we will simply take a stand on whether to attack North Korea or not. And I simply have to leave you with having to figure out what I will pick until next episode. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.